rise to 41.
New variants to prevent spread of Omicron variants at Ghana's airports to take effect from tomorrow, Tuesday, December 14, 2021.
MTTD and road safety authorities scale up efforts to promote road safety with education and enforcement.
The public gripes about slow pace of re-registration of SIM cards.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa recovering after testing positive for COVID-19. Hello, good evening. Welcome to News Hour live on GBC News and News and Governance Channel. We are also live on GTV and streaming on Facebook and YouTube at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Micheline Taka.
And my name is Clara Mlano. Robert Frimpong Manso will interpret the news into sign language. Good evening.
Good evening. Now, sectorial ministers of the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, has proposed January 1 next year for the reopening of all land borders. The bloc took the decision in collaboration with the West African Health Organization during a virtual meeting last Friday. The West African economy lost about $50 billion in value, or 6.7% of the bloc's cumulative GDP since 2020, when the sub-region first recorded cases of COVID-19.
The ministers also recommended the effective implementation by member states of the harmonized directives of ECOWAS against the COVID-19. They also urged member states to ensure mutual recognition of PCR tests at the borders and the harmonization of their validity period. Earlier, we spoke to a public health expert on the specific measures.
Looking at it in terms of the evolution of the pandemic, I think the timing is maybe it could be a bit problematic. Maybe it may have made sense to push it maybe a month into the year, maybe early February, simply to see how the Omicron variant is going to play out here and to see how the access to vaccines here or the supply to vaccines in West Africa evolves with emerging information about the potential need for booster shots if Western countries decide to reduce their donations and COVAX is stifled again. What are our timelines going to be? I think perhaps a bit of time to assess this new variable in the equation may have been helpful. But in terms of the policy itself, as in do we have the tools to reopen? Yes. The question is whether the timing makes sense with the potential of a fourth wave around the region from the Omicron variant, and trying to sync that up with what that means for resources available to actually do the border screenings if you are responding also internally to surges, and whether or not those are matched up in terms of timing to make sure that you have the personnel available to implement the border screening protocols and time to train immigration officials and other people who could work as auxiliary staff to also. It's a bit tight. I think perhaps a bit of a delay for review may have been helpful, but the policy itself, based on the tools we have available, it makes a lot of sense.
BBC News' Northern Regional Correspondent Mutala Issa updated us earlier on how the closure of the border is affecting business in the region.
The closure of border has significantly impacted the revenue generation of district assemblies that share these borders. Significant number of businesses come through these borders in and out into Togo and outside of Togo into Ghana, into Ivory Coast and outside of Ivory Coast into Ghana. And these were major sources of revenue for the district assemblies. Unfortunately, with this closure, they could no more rake in as much as they could. Also, for us, especially in the northern region, and to some extent the Bono Ahafo, as well as the Ashanti regions, we had a lot of young men who were moving from the Republic of Togo to come in as farmhands. You quite remember last year we did a story where there were complaints about shortage of farmhands. Young men who come in to help with the preparation of land, the raising of mounds. A lot of them come from the Republic of Togo, but with the closure of borders, so many of them who had attempted coming in had themselves arrested and repatriated back to their countries. Also, we have young men and women in the northern region who go to places like Sankase, Lomé, and other places to import goods. And this is basically their primary source of income.
Statistics from the National Road Safety Authority and the MTTD showed an increase in the number of road accidents in 2021. To check the trend, Authority and the MTTD are scaling up efforts to promote road safety with education and enforcement. The authority says it is reviewing its Road Traffic Act to introduce punitive measures to recalcitrant road users.
This year, the statistics is not good. It's not good, it's not helpful. From January to November, we have about 2,608 people dying from road carnages, about 14,000 people injured, about 14,500 and over. Also, the reported cases, total reported cases, and the number of vehicles involved are over 25,000, which is really, really unacceptable. This is unprecedented. It has never happened before. Last year, comparatively, it wasn't like that. We were even saying it's risen because of the election year. But this year, that we've not even ended the year, and we were recording such huge numbers in November, from January to November. Everybody needs to be alarmed and do something about it. That is why we are here. We are going around through outrages, partnership with the media, to tell people about the carnages on our road and the effect it is having on individual homes and then on the nation as well, so that we'll put our hands on deck and do something about it, so that next year by this time we will.
Ghana has begun re-registering of all SIM cards in the country since October 2021. At the end of March 2022, any SIM card that has not been registered using the National Identification Card will be disconnected. On a visit to some Ghana card registration centers, some members of the public were not happy with the exercise, particularly the slow pace of the process.
For an individual who visits a GRA center for a national identification card, he or she will have to go through these 4 processes. The person has to fill a form providing his or her details with supporting document like a birth certificate, a passport, or have a Ghana card holder to guarantee for the person. From there, his or her fingerprints will be taken and then the face. The final procedure is when the card is printed out. Ideally, this simple procedure should not take that long. However, from centers visited by GBC News, the situation shows otherwise. For 72-year-old Mr. Ado, he went through the process some weeks ago, but to get a printout of his card has become a problem. And so is Antiama, whose registration center was Nima, but has been visiting about 4 centers in order to pick a card, but still not successful. For Charles, authorities need to extend the deadline for both the SIM synchronization and the controller registration for workers because of the tedious nature of the process.
So we'll be there and then one person will be called and about 2-3 hours still before another person will be called and all that. So that's the stress we are going through. You know, assuming there's a canopy or a shed or something that can accommodate the people, it's okay. But you come and look at this and look at where people are sitting and all that in the sun, it's not the best. You know, at least something should be done about this thing. If I don't think it's the right thing.
To avoid long queues at some centers, people who walk in have been given appointments to appear later. For some centers, like the GRA Center at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, as at the time GBC News got to the center, a record available indicated that people have been booked for up to June next year.
A major ovation from the centers visited is the lack of staff or the limited number of staff who are working on the project. Reporting for GBC News, Gifty Ajay, Accra.
The Upper East Regional Branch of the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has destroyed unwholesome goods valued at 75,460 Ghana cedis. The goods, which were confiscated by the authority after a market surveillance throughout the region, included food products, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, herbal medicines, food supplements, and household chemicals.
The FDA confiscated the unwholesome products from provision shops, chemical shops, pharmacies, warehouses, herbal clinics, cosmetic shops, and the open market. The Upper East Regional Head of the FDA, Mr. Sebastian Maulihoto, spoke to GBC News about the essence of the exercise.
Comparatively to what we've been destroying the previous years, this is a lower amount of products, which comes to tell us that a lot of people have now gained the awareness that they are not supposed to be stocking expired and unregistered and unwholesome products. And therefore, it looks like the education we are doing for the general public to stay away from expired products, not to patronize expired products, rusted products, and so on and so forth on the market is going down gradually with the people of the Upper East region.
He advised the general public to be careful of what they buy from the market this Christmas. He said it is necessary for consumers to open their eyes wide when buying, especially edible items, to avoid consuming unwholesome foods and contracting diseases.
If it is rusted, don't buy because the quality is compromised and so on, so that we can all have a very happy Christmas season without illnesses and the problems with our health. And I also want to use this opportunity to encourage everybody that we are still in the COVID-19 season, and therefore we should all try and observe our COVID-19 protocols appropriately.
Meanwhile, the FDA has also destroyed 122 cartons of expired carnation milk at the Boko Senior High School. The exercise was supervised by the officials from the Environmental Protection Agency, the Environmental and Sanitation Agency, the Ghana Standards Authority, Ghana Police Service, the Custom Division of the GRA, Pharmacy Council, Economic and Organized Crime Office, and the Ghana Health Service.
The late paramount chief of the Gbi traditional area in the Hohoi municipality of the Volta region, Togbiga Gabusu, has been laid to rest. At his funeral in Hohoi, the paramountcy, thousands of Ghanaians, including political leaders, paid their last respect.
Togbiga Gabusu, known in private life as Billy Bright Elikumadi, was born on 20th June 1950 at Hohoi. He was an educationist and retired as an assistant director in the Ghana Education Service in June 2013. He was from the royal Kadrake lineage of B, became heir to the stool and was installed on 25th May 1989 as the paramount chief of B when the stool became vacant. Togbiga Gabusu was a very vibrant member of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, where he served as its president for 2 terms, from 2001 to 2008. During his 29-year rule, Togbiga Gabusu mobilized his people for the development of the traditional area. The late paramount chief was also at the forefront of advocacy for development and unity amongst the people of the Volta region. In a tribute, the president of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, Togi Teprehodo, described Togbiga Gabusu's passing as a great loss to the House. The Minister for Railways Development, Mr. John Peter Amewu, also paid glowing tribute to the late Togbiga Gabusu for supporting him during his tenure as the Municipal Chief Executive of Hohoi. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, urged the people of B to maintain the peaceful coexistence that Togbiga Gabusu exemplified. The NDC running mates in the 2020 elections, Professor Nana Jane Opokwa Jiman, praised Togbiga Gabusu for his role in resolving a dispute between the Gbis and the Zongo community in Hokwe in 2012. She entreated the people of Hokwe to honor the late chief by living in peace. The children of the late paramount chief also paid tribute, recounting the sacrifices that their father made to secure them a good future. The Gbi Traditional Council, in a tribute read by a senior divisional chief of the area, Tobike, pledged to build upon the legacy of the late paramount chief in terms of development and unification. Togbiga Ngabusu died on 23 October 2018 at the age of 68. He is survived by 3 wives and 8 children.
The majority leader, Mr. Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu, says the 45,000.5 million Ghana cedi allocated for the construction of 70 constituency offices for members of parliament is not enough. He explained that the cost of building materials, acquisition of land at the various constituencies, among other things, have delayed the commencement of work on the project. The amount, which is part of the 2021 budget, caters for the first stage of the construction project, which would have provided constituency offices for all the 275 MPs by 2024.
Parliament in the 2021 budget was allocated an amount of 45,500,000 Ghana cedis for the construction of 70 constituency offices, which was to constitute the first phase of the project. I must admit that further discussions on this have yielded the consideration that the amount that we programmed for the construction of the facilities, the unit costs certainly would not suffice given the current circumstances of the cost of building materials, which then means that we have to really increase the level of the allocations per unit.
The arrangement was that first year we're going to do 70, second year 70, third year 70, then the fourth year we do the remaining. So now that year one is gone already, are we going to do what we're supposed to have done in year one, in year two, so that for 2022 we're going to be doing 140 constituencies?
I must concede that Parliament did not commence the construction of the facilities in 2021 as we envisaged, and it's not attributable to the Ministry of Finance not releasing the funds, but because of what we had to do preparatory to the award of the contracts, securing the parcels of land in the various constituencies and so on. But certainly we must accommodate the outstanding ones, at least a portion of it, on the 2022 allocation.
Media houses in the northern region have been sensitized to stem the tide of extremist rhetoric on the airwaves. Differences in doctrine has often led to tensions and occasionally violent confrontations between supporters of rival sects. The Northern Regional Peace Council, in collaboration with the Office of Transitional Initiatives, is working with stakeholders, including managers of media houses in the region, to promote tolerance among the various groups.
Ghana's neighbors, Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast, have witnessed violent extremist activities in recent times. Analysts believe these violent extremist organizations are seeking to reach coastal countries, including Ghana, through the Sahel. Over the last few years, violent extremist organizations have attempted setting up cells and recruiting in the northern region. In September this year, Ghana's National Security, working in collaboration with sister security agencies, arrested 33 suspects at Nambahala, a village in the Savlugu municipality. 5 out of the 33 suspects believed to have ties with violent extremist groups in the Sahel and were using an Islamic learning center at Nambahala to spread their ideology. As part of efforts to further boost security and keep extremist groups at bay, the Northern Regional Peace Council, with funding from the USAID under the Office of Transition Initiatives, is working with stakeholders to secure Ghana's borders. The Executive Secretary to the Northern Regional Peace Council, Father Thaddeus Kusa, throws more light on the initiative.
It's a reality that has woken us up to see how to prevent rather than allowing an occurrence of it, so that we will not begin to deal with it. So
participants emphasized the need to take proactive measures to keep violent extremist organizations at bay.
Ours is advocacy. That is what we can do to educate the public to know what to do, to be very vigilant and report anything untoward or anything that any suspicious things that goes around them.
What we have to do is to ensure that we have a critical look at our own surroundings, at our own environments, and any little notice of issues of terrorism or anything that is likely to advance terrorism, we nip it in the bud.
The facilitator of the program, Dr. Eliasu Mumuni, called for collaboration among media houses to ensure that preachers who espouse violence and extremist ideology are not given space in the media to spread their agenda.
We are back after this break. Please do stay on.
Has been amazingly worthy. Azar Group is 100 years and continues to achieve greatness.
Main brands which were in the company are Azar Tex, which is an emulsion paint, texture paints, which we were the first people to produce it in Ghana, and Azar Gloss, which is oil paint. We were the first people to produce the carpenter's glue. Now we have new products like silicone paint.
Join Azar Group Celebrate 100 years and to create another brilliant 100 years together.
Promotion! Go, Madrid! Go, Barcelona!
Vamos, Sevilla! Tell if you are going to Spain with your partners to enjoy a VIP La Liga experience,
including a stay at a plush hotel, boat cruises, city tours, and more.
Just buy any sachet of Gino, Pomo, or Gino Pepper and Onion, or Gino Max. Look for a code inside the sachet or tray. Dial the short code to *161* in a code hash and start accumulating points.
The more your points,
the bigger your win. Take it to Barcelona, Spain.
Said again, with only the Ghana card. Yes, only the Ghana card.
You will not be able to make voice calls, use mobile money services, internet, and all other services linked to your SIM card if you don't.
To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. You will be required to send the following details on your Ghana card: Ghana card number, surname, first name, date of birth, and sex.
You will then receive a special code which you will present to your nearest service provider agent or customer care center for your biometric details to be captured. Remember to add your digital address.
Dial *404# on your phone to start registering your SIM card today.
For more information, contact your service provider on 100 or the National Communications Authority on toll-free number 0800 110622. Register your SIM card to stay connected.
Hello Ghana. On behalf of President Akufo-Addo and his government, I thank you profusely for your support for the Green Ghana initiative. Saturday, December 11th, will be exactly 6 months since the Green Ghana Day initiative. I want to encourage you to visit your trees, take a selfie and post it. Water the trees, nurture them, so that together we can green Ghana. I thank you.
Please, I've not killed anyone. I just do galamsey.
Your Honor, since the accused has been in the dock for a while, please permit me to serve him some water to drink.
You promised to give me water. This water is coming from the gutter.
Your Honor, that is it. Due to the galamsey activities of the accused and his cohorts, they have polluted all our water bodies. See, this water is coming from our taps. They have destroyed all our forests, and above all, the activities are killing people.
Mr. Eja, you have been found guilty of indulging in galamsey. And since you don't want to mention the names of your bosses, you have been sentenced to 25 years in prison. This is my judgment.
Please, I will talk. Mr. Francis is bad. Mr. Mountain is bad. Mr. Usu, please, Your Honor, please.
Yenjai galamsey. Yenjai galamsey.
In a world.
Hello, this is Business brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. My name is Esther Edu Ohumeu. The Finance Ministry is urging the public to disregard social media publications claiming that government has dropped the allocation of 241.9 million cedis for e-levy services in the 2022 budget and will therefore not appear in the appropriations bill. The ministry also said allegations that a private company has been awarded a contract to collect the e-levy is untrue.
A statement issued by the Finance Ministry states that the Ghana Revenue Authority is the state agency mandated to provide for the collection services, the cost of which shall not exceed the standard cost of revenue mobilization, as has always been the practice. The statement adds that the GRA will manage all discussions to ensure full deployment of their current platforms and resources for the collection of the e-levy. The Ghana Revenue Authority uses up to 3% of the money it raises to ensure that they can make such collections. The 241.9 million cedis is therefore a reserve that is intended to be put aside to facilitate GRA's collection of these resources, the statement added. The Finance Ministry emphasizes that the e-transaction levy remains one of the efficient means by which government would be able to raise the needed revenue to support the economic development programs for 2022.
MTN Ghana says Mr. Isaac Bediako is the overall best mobile money agent in Ghana's southeastern zone for the year 2021. Mr. Bediako's mobile money business is at Tudu in Accra and was rewarded with a brand new Hyundai Creta SUV and a CCTV camera device at an annual Momo Vendor Awards in Accra. MTN Ghana also gave awards to several mobile money agents and merchants who operate in Accra, Eastern and Volta regions for keeping faith with the company.
MTN Mobile Money Momo for the third quarter of 2021 increased its subscriber base to 15.1 million, translating into a 10.6% increase. The telecom giant also transacted a share of 98% of Ghana's total mobile money transactions this year. The trends show that the company's cash-light business is sturdy in the country's financial regime, and also for this reason, MTN is keen on ensuring that stakeholders and partners in the business are better off in their service delivery. In April this year, MTN implemented the ID presentation for cash out service and also collaborated with relevant fintech partners to block the IMEIs of phones used for fraudulent business as a tactic to reduce such illegal maneuvers faced by MTN. On the night of the MTN Momo Vendor Awards, 400 Momo partners made up of 200 agents, 120 merchants and 80 mobile agents in the southeast zones made up of Greater Accra, Eastern and Volta regions were rewarded.
What we actually are preaching to our agents is to manage their place of work. Follow some basic rules that will ensure that at least they protect themselves. First of all, we said that agents should not work into the night. There should be time for you to close, and when you close at that time, then you avoid the exposure. You shouldn't work till late. Then as much as possible, pull your funds, bank them, so you don't carry money home, because if you carry money home, then people begin to watch you and that becomes an opportunity.
Criteria used in the nomination process include number of customer subscriptions for the year under review, service rate charged, and no incidents of fraud during registration. The winner of the overall best Momo agent in the Southeast Zone, Mr. Isaac Bediako, said he had high hopes of winning the award due to some standard reforms he adopted in his service delivery.
I will advise my colleagues to work hard and exercise patience when dealing with customers.
With regards to the newly introduced levies and taxes, MTN says there is an ongoing broader consultation with relevant stakeholders and regulators. MTN customers are also entreated to call 114, send a text to 1515 or 419 when fraud is detected.
Aluminium product manufacturer Aluwex is still struggling to recover from the effects of COVID-19 as the country's borders remain closed to neighboring West African countries. The closure means Aluwex finds it difficult in carting manufactured products by road to other parts of the ECOWAS bloc.
Aluwex has been a struggling business for almost a decade now. COVID-19 only added to the yoke of a company which has had to import its raw materials from China at throat-cutting rates as aluminium smelter Valco remains shut. Aluwex Limited is an aluminium casting and cold rolling mill located at the port city of Tema. Aluwex was converted to a public limited liability company at its 9th annual general meeting after an initial public offer at the price of 13 pesos per share. The principal shareholders of the company are SNITS with 62.62% and Kaitlin Limited 20.88%. At this year's annual general meeting to review performance of the company, the board chairman of Aluwex said cheap import of aluminum products into the country and the effect of COVID-19 continue to impact the company negatively.
We had reported last year we continue to rely on our customers and creditors for financing to generate sufficient cash flow to keep the business turning over. With the pandemic raging, lockdown in place for some of the second quarter, and the closure of the road borders referred to earlier, the finances seemed to dry up to our detriment.
The managing director of Aluex, Mr. Kwesi Oko, said governments must implement stiffer laws to prevent aluminium companies from importing cheap and low-quality aluminium.
Chinese were bringing cheap products into the country and reducing our margin because we could not match their prices, so we had to come down. And therefore, we're making a loss. For many years, we're making a loss because of the Chinese, which is why we applied. So we're very pleased that the GITC actually ruled that the Chinese were dumping into this country, and they imposed the 35.77% duty on any such imports into this country using the export rebate in China. However, those were merely words until they implemented.
Just as in previous years, the company could not pay dividends to its shareholders as a result of unfavorable balance sheet. Aluex's current share price stands at 10 pesos per share.
Let's have the interbank and commodity figures for the day. It's brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. Thanks for watching.
No one that can do it like you do. Send your mom and
true to the Republic of Ghana. And that is exactly what I'm doing in the fight against Galamsey.
Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 Galamsey, este Ghana. Ghana, my emrena suo. Galamsey, este se jayo. My enkambum, na ye mine say ye pepre. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, yenjai, Galamsey. Yenjai, 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 Galamsey, este Ghana. Galamsey, yes you are say oh. Galamsey, and forest I say oh. for you. Say a bunch of wow, bedem. Yenjai, galamsey. Yenjai, galamsey. Yenjai, galamsey, say Ghana. Yeah, my Ghana, yeah, shaman in seo. Yeah, my Ghana, yeah, shaman in seo. Yeah, my Ghana, yeah, shaman in seo. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master. Galamsey, master.
Hello and welcome to the energy segment. My name is Mabel Anna. Ghana earned 9.9 million Ghana cedis from producing gas in the last 10 years. Within the same period, Jubilee oil field produced 295 million barrels of oil, 70 million, and Sankofa 40 million barrels of oil, according to the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC. All these brought $6.2 billion into government's kitty from 2010 to June 2021.
The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, is a statutory committee mandated to monitor and evaluate compliance with the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, PRMA, by government and relevant institutions in the management and use of petroleum revenues and investments. PIAC provides independent assessment of the management and use of petroleum revenues to assist Parliament and the Executive in the oversight and performance of related functions. Speaking during the Coastal Belt Forum on 10 years of the management and use of petroleum revenue in Ghana, the chairman of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, Professor Kwame Adom-Frimpong, said the trend in the past few years shows that Ghana is doing well in the production of oil, but the use of revenue should be checked. He said PIAC will, within its mandate, ensure that the laws governing the use of oil in the country are duly followed.
This year, from January to 30th June, we have got $350 million.32 US dollars. That's what we have got this year. And as I said, if all things will be equal, then it's likely we will get 700 million this year. So in total, from inception to date, that to date means 30th June, we have $6.9 billion US dollars. And that's what we have got from the exploration of oil production.
PIAC provides space and platform for the public to debate on whether spending, management and use of revenues conform to development priorities as provided under Section 21(3) of the
The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has restored power to Yulo and Lower Manyakrobo municipality in the eastern region. They were reconnected on Sunday, exactly 7 days after the entire area was taken off the national grid. The public relations officer of ECG in Tema region, Ms. Sechwa Mensah, spoke with GBC News.
Communities in the two municipalities were cut off following the decision by ECG to shut down the feeders to the bulk supply point which supplies power to the area. Yilo and Lower Manyakrobo municipalities were plunged into darkness since Monday, December 6, following the decision by ECG few hours after the power distributor closed down its district office in Somanya over safety concerns. The week-long power cut crippled the local economy as businesses, including coal stores, welding shops, struggled to operate. The people spontaneously jubilated following their reconnection. The public relations officer of ECG in the Tema region, Ms. Sechwa Mensah, tells GBC News that the decision became necessary due to illegal connections and other challenges in the area.
So engineers have been at work. The security agencies have provided them with enough security. They've done their checks, their patrolling, they've checked all they need to check, and based on the results of all that work, they decided that it was safe to to restore supply. But then I need to add that though we supplied power to the entire enclave, not everybody has power because there are some customers who are served by certain transformers which are currently not working. So we are still working on these transformers. Those that need to be replaced will be replaced. We are working round the clock to restore power to everybody.
Meanwhile, a group calling itself the Coalition of Krobo Youth has promised to deploy 1,000 youth from both Ilo and Lower Manya Krobo municipalities to provide 24-hour security to ECG workers so ECG could return its operations to the area.
That's all for the energy segment. My name is Mabel Anang.
You're still watching News Hour. My name is Mavis Affair Champon. The health news is brought to you by Lufat. The Ghana Health Service has identified 7 more persons infected with the Omicron variant of COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases to 41. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, said the cases were detected after conducting a community testing. The service initially recorded 34 cases at the Kotoka International Airport. He said the service had sequenced about 66 community samples, which were all negative. He, however, identified the 7 variants from the second round of testing. Dr. Kumabwaji said the variant was first detected in Ghana on November 21 among passengers who arrived at the airport from Nigeria and South Africa through genomic sequencing. He said the surge in the COVID-19 cases among international arrivals were expected largely due to an anticipated increase in the number of arrivals. He encouraged all to get vaccinated to bring the transmission of any infection and reduce hospitalization. A new directive to prevent the spread of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 at Ghana's airport is to take effect from tomorrow, Tuesday, 14th November. Authorities say airlines which fly unvaccinated foreign nationals into Ghana will be fined $3,500 per passenger. The airlines will also need to make sure that people fill in the required health declaration form. Already, the Ghana Health Service has detected 7 more Omicron variants through community testing, bringing the total to 41.
The fine is aimed at strengthening the ban on foreign visitors who have not received the coronavirus vaccine from entering Ghana. Ghanaian citizens and residents abroad are exempt from the ban for the next 2 weeks, but will be required to get jabbed upon landing at the airport. All travelers have to provide proof of a negative PCR test results conducted within 72 hours of departure and will also be tested at the airport on arrival. Ghana has vaccinated less than 10% of its 30 million population. The Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service will from January make vaccines mandatory. Targeted groups including government employees, health workers and students. In the last 2 weeks, COVID-19 cases recorded at the airport has accounted for 60% of the total cases in the country.
Over 1 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines have been delivered to Ghana through the African Vaccine Acquisition Trust. The latest consignment brings the total number of vaccines acquired by the Africa Exim Bank on behalf of Ghana to over 5 million. It is the last batch in a series of deliveries for this year. Ghana has committed to buying close to 17 million doses of the single-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Africa countries in March this year agreed to have about 400 million, that is 60% of its population, vaccinated through the acquisition of vaccines. This was in collaboration of the African Union Africa Medicine Supply Platform, UNICEF, Africa Center for Disease Control, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, and the Afri-Exim Bank. The health news was brought to you by Lufat, Tobinco's premier gift to West Africa against malaria. We have more news after this break. Do stay.